It is Wednesday, November 20th, and not only are you watching Damon Bruce Plus, but you're watching over on Golden Days as well. Our good friend Cyrus Saatsaz stops on by for what I think, Cyrus, we've agreed to as a little bit of a weekly rhythm. A Warriors Wednesday is kind of what we're thinking of gifting the good people of YouTube.
Oh,
how you doing, man?
And it's free. You don't have to pay a penny. There's no subscription other than subscribing to our YouTube channels, Damon Bruce, the Plus. And speaking of French, Rudy Gobert, what an ass that guy just continues to be. But that's a side note. The Plus, subscribe to that and subscribe to Golden Days. But it's free. It is a free subscription. And I even put Warrior Wednesday in all caps on Twitter and Threads promoting today's segment. Hell yeah, it's Warrior Wednesday. Damon Bruce, love you, brother. How the hell are you doing today, man?
I mean, when you're working in all caps, people know you mean business.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Unless all caps mean it's about to go down. And hey, Cyrus, we got ourselves a little bit of a preview. We got the Hawks coming into Chase Center tonight. It's been obviously a tremendous start to the Warriors season. They've only fallen to the loss column 3 times, twice against the Clippers, who they lost to on Monday night. And look, it's never good to go out and lose a game, but at the same time, how are you playing through the loss? And there were an awful lot of moments in that game where giving up on that game would have been exactly what happened with last year's team. To all their credit, the Warriors, in a sloppy, poorly executed, bad from the free throw line basketball game, actually had a look to send that sucker to OT at the end. Steph clanked one, Gary Payton II then clanked one, and that was all she wrote. Pretty entertaining finish to an otherwise frustrating game. I'll give him a little, I'll wink at him just once for fighting the good fight. Too bad they started so sloppy, because that game was lost in the first quarter.
It was. And the GP2 shot attempt at the end is what was the craw that's stuck in my side. It's the thorn. That drove me nuts, because they should have called the timeout when they got the stop. GP2 should not have been there to begin with. And that pass was intended for Lindy Waters III. I don't know how closely you watched that play, but GP2 just kind of jumped in there and intercepted the pass. That should have never happened to begin with. Frustrating is the perfect word to describe that game, Damon. And now we're coming down with news. I don't know if you've heard this yet or not, that De'Anthony Melton, his injury has been a huge mystery. And I've said this before, when teams are hiding information, when they're doing a cloak and dagger type approach to a player's stature and his status more specifically, that's a concern. That's a flag. And that's what's been going on with De'Anthony Melton. And Steve Kerr yesterday revealed that this injury could be serious and that De'Anthony Melton is getting second opinions. We're talking about a sprained ACL that could keep Melton out now through mid-December, which brings up again the durability issues that we've talked about. Great player. I now officially hate that news, because I feel like if Melton was playing in that Clippers game, that could have been the difference. And now he's out until mid-December. What are your thoughts on that, man? Because that's disconcerting news.
Yeah, we were just sort of starting to get used to him, right? Like, he just started. It felt like Steve Kerr found what he was looking for in a starting backcourt guard in De'Anthony Melton, and was going to use him in his starting five going forward. At least that's the way he was talking after a win last week. And as soon as a player looks like he has found his own level in the pecking order, he vanishes. That's too bad. But it is. For the deepest team in the NBA, it sounds like a situation they can absolutely work through.
I hope.
But we're going to talk a little bit about defensive superstars and how defense needs to lead the way game in, game out. And I know that the Warriors just had their lowest scoring output of the entire year. There's something about Steph in LA. He just doesn't like shooting basketballs in the city of Los Angeles. I know that he had a halfway decent game, but he never has been a fan of the sightlines at Staples Center. The Inuit Dome was a little bit of a test. And what I couldn't believe, and it's not just the Inuit Dome or the wall or anything like that, how poorly this team is shot from the free throw line all year. They are you put 10 percentage points on your free throwing, the Warriors might have been an undefeated basketball team to this point in the year.
It's crazy. And Damon, on tomorrow's episode of Golden Days, I have one of the greatest free throw shooters ever, the Hall of Famer Rick Barry, joining me, who they might need his services. I've never understood the bizarre nature of professional athletes, and in this case, more specifically, NBA players who have rejected the kind of advice that a player like Rick offers, which is to throw these free throws underhanded, which drastically improves the percentage, but these players don't like the look of it. And it's insane how many players would benefit. Like Jonathan Kuminga, I know it's not a good look to be out there doing free throws granny style. I get it. But 64%, 63, whatever Kuminga's at right now.
That's the worst look to me. That's worse. Your shooting percentage looks worse than the free throw style. But look, I will also say this. And I got a lot of love for Rick Barry as a guy that I was privileged to have some off-the-record conversations with in the hallways of KNBR. I got a lot of respect for Rick. Dude, this underhanded free throw shit's got to end, Rick. No one's picking it up. He can talk about it all he wants. No one is signing up for the Rick Barry free throw tutorial at any level of developmental basketball, from zygote to retired. So,
unless it's his son. You're right, though. No one's doing it, but you're absolutely. Damon, do you understand the why of it? Like why aesthetics takes a priority over efficiency? Like, it's never made sense to me. I get it, but at this level where you'd rather look good than play good, that's really insane to me. And do you want to break down the free throw numbers for this team, like in terms of just how bad many players really are? Like, do you have it in front of you?
Give it to me. It's really bad. I mean, there's like half the team is shooting like 63% from the free throw line right now.
Well, I'll go from bottom to best, and we'll stop once it starts getting better, because there's so many players who are awful at it. And again, to me, like the big men like Trayce Jackson-Davis, they get a little more of a pass simply because big men, it's not their forte typically.
Historically, it ain't their cup of tea.
It ain't, and that's fine. And I always have a soft spot in my heart for the big men who just can't hit free throws because they're doing so many other things. So with that said, Trayce Jackson-Davis, 54.5%, but that's okay. What's not, and again, that's not okay, but you could stomach it.
All I can tell you is that he was a much better free thrower than that when he was in Bloomington. So hopefully that improves.
Well, what do you think? What do you think's going on there? I mean, this is happening to every player. Like, why do you think? I know we don't have an answer for it, but just theorize. Like, why do you think Trayce Jackson-Davis regressed? Because everyone's regressing on the Warriors. Do you have any idea what that is? Because I don't.
I have no theory. Too much fentanyl at the free throw line. I don't know. I got no clue. Crazy. I have no idea why an unguarded shot from 10 feet away is something that this team is struggling with at this point in time in this team's competitive arc. I don't get it.
Makes no damn sense. And by the way, I'm going to hit the pause button here real fast because you and I both have sponsors. My sponsor likes to get their love early in the show.
Get it in.
All right. So my official
sponsorship free throw.
There you go. Sponsorship free throw brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all things online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA, and so much more. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Who's paying your bills, Damon Bruce?
How about boom?
That is a boom.
That's what's paying my bills. Look at me. So, by the way, I think you noticed that I am 1,430 calories over at Ike's, and much like my entire career, I never said it was going to be good for you. I just hoped that you would enjoy it, and I think that you will. There is the Damon Bruce. You can order me at Ike's right now. I want you to put my meaty goodness into your mouth. You will be happy that you did. Order Ike's. Order it online. Download that new Ike's Rewards program. Earn your way to free sandwiches, free drinks, free chips, free combos, free upgrades, and possibly a chance to go to New Orleans for a trip for two to a very large football game that'll be played at the Superdome at the end of the year. But there you go. I'm clobbering the stream with a little food porn right now. Look at me. You wouldn't want to see me naked, but look at all that beef. How about that?
Your wife excluded, sir. Damon, I am a very comfortable, secure, heterosexual male. With that said, I will happily eat up a Damon Bruce right now. Nom, 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 nom.
As my dad always used to say, it takes a real man to walk a poodle.
You're a smart man. That's a smart guy.
And by the way, whether you're bringing your poodle out for a walk or to the bar, get to the Dubliner in West Portal. Fantastic bar. I'm telling you, the Dubliner is just everything that a bar should be. It's I am officially, can you turn that down a little, years old now? I am like, I don't like a bar that's too loud. I don't like games that are too loud. I like a nice din. I like a well-poured Guinness, and you get it all at the Dubliner. When you walk in there, make sure you tell Kenny the Damon, Bruce, and Cyrus sent you to the Dubliner in West Portal.
Yes.
And you can even get this delivered right to the Dubliner in West Portal.
That's a combo. That is the combo of combos, Damon. Now.
So let's talk some defensive combos, because one of the things that we were talking about as we were planning this show, and by the way, the word is on the streets that we're going to be doing Warriors Wednesdays through the remainder of the basketball season. So sign up, like, and subscribe, not only to Damon Bruce Plus, but to Golden Days as well. We're trying to build up Cyrus's subscriber count, and by the end of this year, I can't wait to see where it is, brother. You're doing great stuff.
Where are you at? We just passed 3,000, and I'm grateful because it took us about 4 months. I think that's a good pace. Thank you, sir. Where are you at, Damon? You're blowing up those numbers.
We're at 9 million. We just crossed 9 million subscribers. We're feeling really good about it. Maybe it's more like 26,000 or 25,000. On our way to 26. We're going to get there eventually. Cyrus, you're going to get there eventually too. Again,
dude, bravo. How about a clap for you, sir? That's 26,000, dude. That's
thank you very much. Like I said, none of it's good for you. I just hope you enjoy it. This is the channel comes with a calorie count. But look,
well, before we get to the defense, Damon, we were talking free throws.
Yes, then we went on our sponsorship route back to the free throws. Why? I can't explain it. I really can't.
Well, because we were talking about Trayce Jackson-Davis and the fact that, I don't know if you remember off the top of your head, at least ballpark, what his free throw percentage was at Indiana, but with the Warriors, 54.5%. Do you remember any clues where it was when he was a Hoosier?
I'm actually going to look that up.
Okay, we'll look that up while I read the rest of these. So now here's the number, and right after Trayce Jackson-Davis, we get to players where these free throw percentages are not only nonsensical, but they're unacceptable. Brandon Podziemski at 60%. His shooting across the board has been abysmal this year. And I know he had the broken nose and the illness, the dizziness that even he can't explain afterwards. I would hypothesize that maybe there's some concussion issues going on there. I have no idea. But the point is, the struggles were happening before the head injury, before the broken nose, and 60% from the free throw line, Damon. I mean, what's your take on Podziemski's shooting? And is there anything you could do about it? Is it a sophomore slump? Your opinion, sir?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like you said, the mask is bothering him. It feels like Podziemski is very much he has it one day, not the next type of a shooter. He's a little bit streaky more than he is consistent. And the fact that is following him to the free throw line is a little bit of a caution light, right? I mean, a shooter should shoot from the free throw line and continue to shoot well from there, even if the three's not falling or the baseline jumper's not falling. The free throw does for shooters. It's not for Podziemski, a little bit of a caution, but again, sophomore year, I'm not really worried about that. By the way, Trayce at Indiana was right around 70%, 69.5% from the line. I mean, here's the thing. Trayce was never described for a day in his career a great shooter, but at the free throw line, it was never like an issue where it was a talking point like, hey, until he gets better from there, you can't have him play in fourth, well, there is no fourth quarter in college, but you know what I mean? You can't have him playing crunch time minutes. He was crunch time. I mean, Trayce is one of the greatest players in the history of IU basketball. So you needed him on that floor. And he was never so bad from the free throw line that you were like, oh.
It wasn't noticeable. Yeah. Except for being impressive. 70% for a big in college, you can happily live with that. 54.5%, no. No bueno, certainly. But 60% for Podziemski, who's also shooting, just to compound his issues, 19.1% from deep, 38% from the field as a whole. I mean, those numbers have to go up. I mean, especially when you consider the value they placed on him. You know, other teams want him. The Warriors are saying no,
right.
and you're still for this. Like this has to change. Jonathan Kuminga 60.7, and that's down from nearly 75 last year. That has to get up.
Kuminga's like one of the few guys that you can trust to have a game that's going to get him to the free throw line. So
leads the team in free throw attempts, but he's only hitting 60.7% of those attempts. That's not good. Other notables, just to point out, we'll skip the bigs, like De'Anthony Melton at 62.5. That's not good, although he's hurt. Gary Payton II, 62.8. Moses Moody, 71.4. Andrew Wiggins, 72.3. I've named almost everyone. The only good free throw shooters on this team, I should have just made the list that. Lindy Waters hasn't missed. Stephen Curry at 94.3. Buddy Hield at 85.7. Those are your only good free throw shooters. And that's a problem. Those are your three shooters, so they're supposed to carry the weight at the free throw line. Unfortunately, they don't have games that get them to the line very often. Yeah.
So, it's about the other guys picking up the slack. It really is. Again, they just lost a 3-point game on Monday night where they missed 10 free throws. They were 9 of 19 from the free throw line.
And the Stephen Curry thing you brought up is another interesting issue, because a lot of people are griping, and I think they have a reason for it, regarding NBA officials. I don't know how closely you've been watching, but the fact that Stephen Curry had 0 free throw attempts in that game was egregious. And the fact that he doesn't get the superstar treatment still to this day, I'll never understand it. When you see NBA ratings as low as they are, and when you see the NBA kind of taking a step back from marketing Stephen Curry, that there is a correlation there. He is still the face of the NBA, and not just with TV and media, but with the officials. Treat him like the star he is, man. It is frustrating. What do you think, Damon?
To me, Steph Curry going to the free throw line, or a lack thereof, has nothing to do with marketing or TV rating success or anything. It's just officiate the player correctly.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for the league to do marketing in any one game. I just want a guy who is going to the rack, who does drive the ball a little, for sure. I want him to get the same whistle that you would give a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, the old joke used to be, so I met Michael Jordan in the airport once. I shook his hand and was called for a foul. Like, you could breathe on Michael Jordan, you would get a foul. Steph Curry is as bad of officiated superstar as I have ever seen in the league.
It's
he
crazy.
Really is. And I guess the through line is at least the NBA is consistent. I mean, the NBA has been fucking Steph out of free throws for 15 years now.
It's crazy.
And,
it's crazy.
You get a guy like Joel Embiid or James Harden who just gets to live at the free throw line to buoy their career scoring averages. Yeah. Imagine if Steph Curry got some free throw treatment that other guys in the past have gotten. He would be up around 35 a night, every night.
Stephen Curry should if you're calling the game by the rules and you're calling it as it happens, he should have 1 4-point play a game. Like he gets hit on all those 3-point attempts, and some of those it's like, okay, they're ticky tack. I could understand moving on, but some of those are not, man. Some of those there's blatant contact. The rules are not being enforced. That Clippers game was particularly egregious. There was a push off that the refs. It was so obvious by Harden on Waters that they just looked the other way. There was a ball dribbled out of bounds at the end of the game. I don't know if you remember seeing that the refs are like, oh, we didn't see that. I can't wait for the robots to step in for officials. I really can't wait for that moment. I hope it comes someday. I don't know if you share those sentiments, but officiating.
If you guys can't improve and we have a way to improve this, we should. Yeah, that's just all there is to it. Either get replay all the way into the game or get it all the way out of the game. This whole, we select the moments and things we look at according to this time in the game. We're going to look at this, but not this. I mean, it's a little nuts. It really is.
By the way, people in the chat, Damon, are bringing up the fact that it wasn't just the free throws that burned the Warriors, and it wasn't just in this game either. This is a problem throughout the season, and that's turnovers. Are you noticing that too? And your thoughts?
Look, turnovers have like Steph Curry's fabulous shooting, have been a part of the Warriors' dynasty, right? I mean, they have always been a little sloppy with the ball when they've been really good. And at their best this year, they're holding those turnovers under 13, 14 a night.
Yes.
19 turnovers is officially 5-6 too many.
Good call.
That's
Good
the
call.
problem. I don't expect a team to go out there and give me a single-digit turnover, but I do want it under 15.
Yeah.
I do want it under 15, and I'm sure that Steve Kerr does too. I would expect that to improve when De'Anthony Melton returns. Remember, the Warriors used to have like 2 dudes who could dribble a basketball. Now they've got like 4. Now they have 4 or 5 guys who got like a legit handle.
Yeah.
So the turnovers should get better. And those, just the Hail Mary types of passes and the, Draymond trying to make a highlight with a pass, probably a little less of that would go a long way. Again, there's not really much to complain about. This team is off to one of the best starts that they've had of the Steve Kerr era.
Yeah, we're nitpicking.
They're off to one of the best starts in the NBA this season. But how do you clean it up? And it's the same story as it's been throughout the entire run of the Warriors dynasty. Hit your free throws, play better defense, stop stepping on your own dicks with all these turnovers, and you're going to win more games than you lose.
Absolutely right. And that's where this team is if this team is good enough at this point where if you play a clean game and you don't screw it up with the little things like they did against the Clippers, you have a shot at the whole thing, man. And Cleveland got beat finally last night by the Celtics. So there's the Warriors 24-0 start is still safe. But with that said, I bring that up because when you talk about the landscape of the NBA, who the elite contenders are, I don't know if where you're at this week, Damon, because I do feel like it's a very fluid situation, but the Warriors to me are contenders. They are real, even with that Clippers game notwithstanding. How do you see the Warriors at this point, man? Cleveland got its first loss. The Celtics are a contender.
Yeah, here's the thing: the Warriors are in the conversation. That's all. It's November. We have not had Thanksgiving dinner. So talking about contenders at this point in time in an NBA season, to me, is a little premature. Just a touch premature. By the way, Cyrus is frozen in time right now. Cyrus, frozen. But contender, how about this? They're definitely not pretenders. They're kind of contenders. Here, Cyrus, click back in. Hold on. Kick him out of the studio real quick. Do I have to log him off? Does he have to log himself up? There we go. He's figuring it out. He's figuring it out, everybody. When he gets on back, we'll get him on back. But yeah, it's, the Warriors, again, it's contender talk in the month of November. I don't need it. I don't need it. It's just play good. Oh no. Cyrus says, I just lost power. Dude, we got to get Cyrus a generator. Seriously, we got to get Cyrus a freaking generator. By the way, it is a rainy, very ugly day here in the Bay Area in San Francisco. Cyrus just texted me, said, I just lost power. Fuck. Please tell my audience that I apologize on their behalf. Oh, Cyrus, I'm sorry. So Cyrus had an awful lot of defensive numbers and metrics that he was saving up that we were going to get into. But since Cyrus is here and gone, let me just tell you what I think is the thing that the Warriors need to concentrate on the most. Draymond Green. Be a value add. Don't be someone who subtracts. Draymond Green goes all in on his latest podcast about Taylor Jenkins, Memphis Grizzlies head coach, who was complaining to the league about Draymond tripping Zach Edey. So I saw it. And Draymond says on his podcast with Baron Davis, who I guess is now the co-host of his podcast, he says, Draymond, quote, you run into the media crying about a foul. Come on, bro, with your 7'3" rookie. So guess what you just taught your 7'3" rookie? How to be emotional and run to the media talking about a foul. We bigs, we big men. You don't run to the media talking about a foul. You a big man. Okay, dude, you have a podcast. Like, if talking is something that you can be guilty of, Draymond, you need the death sentence because you're flapping your gums after every game that you can. So you're a big man who literally has a podcast complaining about other guys talking. The reason why both Taylor Jenkins and Zach Edey were complaining about Draymond tripping him is because Draymond 100% stuck his foot out, dirty pool, tripped the guy. The problem isn't on the Memphis Grizzlies side of this problem, Draymond. It's yours. You see certain players in certain uniforms and disrespecting them physically is no big deal to you. We've seen it for years now, Draymond. You ain't fooling any of us. I know who you are. And who you are, Draymond, along with being a future Hall of Famer, spectacular player, great defender, and, part of the emotional, whatever the Warriors are emotionally, you're a huge part of that. You are also a cheap shot artist, Draymond. We've seen it. There is a cheap shot bag of tricks that you will go into when you need to. That is an emergency lever that a lot of guys will not pull. Draymond will pull the cheap shot lever when he feels it suits him. I am no Zach Edey fan. I watched Zach Edey play really good basketball against the Indiana Hoosiers for 4 years. He is good at what he does, but I will tell you this, when it comes to complaining and being a little bit of a bitch publicly, Zach Edey's not. Zach Edey doesn't say anything. He just goes out there and plays hard all the time. So I do not want to hear another word from Draymond about what is being taught by coaches complaining about his buffoonery publicly in the media. You tripped him, Draymond. And if you're asking me, what am I most concerned about with the Warriors? Is there any rotation? Is it the Melton injury? Is it free throw percentage? What do you worry about the most when you lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about the Warriors? Where could it all go wrong? It's not the 13-man rotation. It's not spitting in the eye of the natural pecking order of an NBA team. What worries me at all times the most about the Warriors, how it could all blow up and go wrong, it's Draymond. It's Draymond Green. There is no Golden State Warrior who could possibly sabotage this season from the inside looking out more than Draymond Green. And again, you've done it before, Draymond. We've watched it with our own two eyes. We have seen you, in the name of your own, I got business to handle, fuck up seasons. Draymond Green, through punches and suspensions, has screwed up entire basketball seasons all by himself. And that is what I worry the most about the Warriors, that he might do that again, that he might be the reason why it all starts going wonky or funny or he's suspended and unavailable. Draymond's got a podcast because he feels that he's got a lot to say, and he does, and many lessons to convey, and he does. I think one of the most important lessons for Draymond to hear is, we know you're a cheap shot artist. We've seen it. We've got ample evidence, so stop taking cheap shots. And when you get called out on it, and when the NBA upgrades a cheap shot to a flagrant one, that is letting you know that you have screwed up again. There is no victory lapping that, Draymond. Here's a little victory lap right here. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. The power is back.
Well, I have a backup generator, so I'm good for a little while. We're rocking and rolling. This is life in the woods, Damon. I do apologize, and it's a work in progress.
It's all right,
but I got a backup generator, baby. So we got a huge storm hitting the entire Pacific Northwest. I don't know if it's hitting actually San Francisco.
Yeah, it's raining outside right now. It's not a nice day here in the city. So while you were gone, Cyrus, were gone, and you want to get to some defensive numbers, I've opened up a little bit of a defensive conversation here because I'm talking about Draymond Green.
I apologize to everyone, yourself included, for that, man. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. Look at it this way. there's a lot of shows that you will, I'm sure, fuck up eventually. Kicking the power out is something that not even you can control. So
you're goddamn right about that, man.
Draymond talking about how Taylor Jenkins and Zach Edey, he's complaining that, they run to the media, and what you're teaching your rookie is to run to the media to complain. No. What happened was you got caught. It was upgraded, flagrant foul. You totally tripped a rookie, because that's the kind of cheap shot artist you have always been, Draymond. Draymond Green will never bow up to the other team's biggest, baddest player. He's going to pick on someone he thinks he can pick on. It's never the tough guy. It's always the Domantas Sabonis. It's always the, not that Sabonis isn't tough, but you know what I mean? Like Draymond's never bowing up to, Jaren Jackson.
But they were those two had a fun game that night where they were going at it back and forth. Look, Damon, when it comes to Damon Bruce, I'm sorry, when it comes to Draymond Green, I apologize. I'm regrouping here. I can understand people being tired of the antics. I get it. I could understand people saying, dude, this stuff was tired years ago. Like, never mind, every day since. Look, the Grizzlies to me are a team where if there's any opponent that I'm going to give a little grace to Draymond Green to, it's the Grizzlies, just because Taylor Jenkins to me is a total piece of shit. And I'll tell you why, man. I still think back to 2022 when his guy, Dylan Brooks, I still have not heard an apology for that dirty play that literally injured Gary Payton II. Say what you want about Draymond Green. I don't remember him ever knocking people out for extended amounts of time because of injury. I get the nut kicks, hurt, but again, I don't remember people actually missing time because of anything Draymond's done. Gary Payton II was almost knocked out of the entire postseason because of that very dirty Dylan Brooks play that I still have not heard an apology from Taylor Jenkins. And on top of that, remember when he was accusing Jordan Poole of intentionally injuring Ja Morant? That had no tact. That was just a Weasley lack of integrity type statement to make. And he never apologized for that either. So Taylor Jenkins, F you, man. If there's one team where I'm not going to overly criticize Draymond Green for antics like that, which, side note, Damon, you and I are old enough to remember the 80s and 90s NBA. That's why I don't flinch at a lot of what Draymond does, because if he was playing in that era, none of this would matter.
No, he's not. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And if you cut someone's head off with a sword and it was the medieval times, everything would be fine. You do it now, you're under arrest.
Well, we weren't alive during the medieval times. I'm keeping it in perspective of our life.
I feel like I was around for medieval times. I really do. No, here's the thing, though. He tripped a kid. He tripped a guy. He straight up tripped him. And then Draymond's complaining that the problem is them complaining about it. No, the problem is you tripping the guy. That's the problem. And so if you ask me, what worries you the most? Like what could make this season jump the tracks and start going off the rails more than anything? It's not the free throwing. It's not the rotation. It's not Steve Kerr spitting in the eye of natural NBA rotational pecking order. It's not De'Anthony Melton's injury. It's Draymond Green doing something that gets himself suspended and throws the team off of its access. And again, don't tell me that can't happen. I've watched it happen several times. I have seen Draymond Green, through his own choices, flush entire Warrior season down the drain.
But Damon, last year he went to therapy. He's a new person, Damon. I'm gonna believe in the system and in Draymond Green's recovery and all the positive things we've heard. He's a new person. How dare you accuse him of tripping someone? That was totally.
Oh no, Cyrus, you're freezing again.
Out again.
You just came back for a second. No, you came back for a second. You're still on.
What the fuck?
There you go. You're still here. Cyrus, can you hear me? We can see you. Cyrus, whatever you do, don't start masturbating, looking at porn.
I'm here. Can you hear? I don't know what happened there.
I can hear you. I can see you. I didn't think you could hear or see me, but the entire
time I couldn't. No, I couldn't. I'm back now, though. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, man. I apologize for today's technical difficulties on my part, but I hope you heard my rant.
I did. And Fosse is here saying, Damon, Draymond also has 4 rings. You're right. I believe he would have 5 if it weren't for him. I mean,
interesting take.
He is a special player who is at times so easily baited into his worst habits. And this is
that's the best. That's the best thing you've said about Draymond that I think is astute. Is he is way too easily baited. You're absolutely
Draymond
right.
Green throwdown of any game that I was playing against him by the 8-minute mark of the first quarter.
Yeah, that's fair. That is very fair.
Draymond Green thrown out of any basketball game I was ever playing against him. I would know instantly how to get under his skin. And and there is no team in the league that probably understands it better than Memphis. And that's why he doesn't like Memphis. And that's why he's taking dirty pool tricks and tripping dudes. You know, I have an incredible amount of respect for Draymond Green. I also see him for the totally damaged, flawed person that he is, who needs to be constantly baby monitored. He does. You cannot just leave Draymond to his own recognizance. You must monitor him at all times, which is odd for a guy who's been in the league for 14 years now. You know, I mean, he's just.
And I think Jill Espina in the chat nailed it perfectly in terms of Dub Nation's feelings toward Draymond. He's our Dennis Rodman. It's the almost the exact same scenario. You have a borderline head case who is invaluable on the basketball court. I think whoever said it is absolutely correct. They don't win any of those championships without him.
No, and I'll tell you, there's a lot about Draymond that I've liked this season too. I like hitting his threes, Draymond. I like offensively aggressive Draymond. I don't like tripping Zach Edey intentionally because you are trying to stop a fast break, Draymond.
Well, let me ask you this, just because I love nuance, right? I like to see every individual instance and judge it accordingly. So in the case of that trip, would you not agree that it was relatively innocuous given that Edey's foot was already in his armpit? And it's not like Draymond grabbed the arm. It's like he just clenched his elbow a little bit and I don't know. I think there's variances.
It's like it's when I see my 5-year-old picking on my 3-year-old, and I just say, Jack, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Don't play innocent.
I just think there's variances to this.
I'm watching you do it. I know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You're doing it intentionally. Stop.
That was just a dirty game. Again, like any other team, and my mouth would be shut when it comes to Draymond because I get it. But the Grizzlies are equally so unethical. I don't trust a single thing they do. Their whole franchise is dirty. So that's why with Draymond and the Grizzlies, I let off the gas a little bit in terms of the critique, the judgment. But at the same time,
I tell you what, D. Martinez says it perfectly. It was a Grayson Allen type of trip.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
And we all agree that Grayson Allen is an on-court thug, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. Good point. Good point. So some defensive numbers.
Yes, that's exactly what I was telling everyone that Cyrus had cooked up this defensive stew that we were going to get into, and I was afraid we weren't going to be able to serve it because your power went out. Before your power goes out again, what do you got for us?
I hope not. Well, let's do this.
My only complaint, my rotational. And I know you're a big rotation guy. To me, we're still a little too early in the year to worry about contention or rotations. It's still experimental phase.
It is early. It's very early. Yeah.
Very early. I do not like seeing Gary Payton in a game before Moses Moody.
You're preaching to the choir, my friend. Thank you. No, I
want Moses Moody to be the first guy who checks in that backcourt, and certainly ahead of Gary Payton, who I think needs to be used as a defensive jack of all trades. If we don't see him until third and fourth quarters, I'm good with it.
And dude, I've been harping that point, and I hate doing this because Gary Payton, the second of all players on the Warriors, like him and Kevon Looney, it pains me the most to criticize those two because I love them personally. I'm never going to forget their contributions for anything they've done for this Warriors franchise, which includes titles. With that said, GP2, like he's not out there for his offense, right? Like, and the final shot was a perfect example of that. He intercepted a pass meant for a real shooter, and then he clanked that 3-point attempt as time ran out. He's there for defense. And the problem I have, Damon, is that defensively, he's not the same dude he was in 2022. He's not. And this is part of the reason why I like pulling these defensive matchup numbers up, because there is not a lot of statistical evidence to substantiate or criticize a player defensively. Period. There's very little out there. There's like rebounding, right, which is technically a defensive stat. There's blocks. there's steals, but there's nothing that really paints a good picture. Defensive rating is a very subjective, very flawed stat that I refuse to go to simply because I've said this before. Sorry for sounding like a broken record here, but 2 years ago or 3 years ago, whatever it was, Stephen Curry, who I love as a defensive player, but he is not the best guard in the NBA defensively, and yet that's what defensive rating revealed. When I saw that stat, I was like, I can't trust this anymore because Steph is good. He's not the best guard in the entire NBA. But the NBA, if you mine like a crypto psychopath through the NBA stats, you can find what's called defensive matchup statistics that do paint a pretty good picture in terms of how a player is defensively. And so when you look at Gary Payton II, for example, the numbers do not support him being out there, given he's a liability offensively. He just doesn't bring anything to the table except putbacks. The threes aren't even falling for Gary Payton II anymore. That's why you're right. Moses Moody deserves these minutes. Gary Payton II, when he's out there, defenders are shooting 47.8% on him. That is unacceptable. That is
for an on-the-ball defense-first player. That's not a good number.
It's not a good number at all. And I could break down like if there's a specific player you have in mind, I could tell you how GP2 did against him. Now, the problem with Moody is, and this is where the numbers are really crazy, is that the two worst defenders on this team right now, statistically, and this isn't necessarily a stain on these two. It's just the Warriors' defense has been that good this year. But the one player who's worse than GP2 is Moody. Moody's given up 49.4% field goal percentage. And on top of that, when it comes to perimeter defense, he's given up 40.5% shooting from the three-point line, meaning his perimeter defense is failing. We saw that with Norman Powell in the Clippers game. And so that's maybe why Kerr is leaning towards GP2. But the problem, again, is offensively, GP2 is a sieve. He's virtually non-existent, whereas Moody can hit threes. He can penetrate. He is not a vacuum out there offensively. He's contributing. So those are the numbers for those two. What are your? I know you've already expressed the fact that you prefer Moody, but
so my question: do you have Wiggins' number in front of you?
I do.
What I do. So
Wiggins. So Andrew Wiggins is giving up 43.1% from the field, and then 35.8% from beyond the arc. Better than those two, but still not great.
I actually thought that number was going to be a little bit better because I've liked the defensive effort. You know what I think it is for Wiggins more than anything else is how hard is he even trying to close out on guys? I feel like Wiggins is closing out on dudes trying to shoot harder this year than in any other year we've seen. So I like that. Who is measurably the best defender on this team? It's got to be Draymond, right?
There's one player better than Draymond. Can you guess who? It might surprise you, but it also probably will not.
Is it Looney?
No.
No? Okay, I don't know.
His numbers are good, but no. Kyle Anderson, slow-mo.
Kyle Anderson.
And, dude, think about this. Is Minnesota not missing him right now? Are the Warriors enjoying him right now? This dude makes a difference, Damon. Like that was a huge pickup by them. Kyle Anderson is defending at a clip where opposing players are shooting just 38.6% from the field when he's defending them, dude. And again, statistically, you're not going to see much from him in the box score, but he is making a difference out there, dude. And he's another reason why I thought the Warriors lost that Clippers game. He only played 12 minutes. I just didn't get that. Again, and that's where the rotations come into play. But your thoughts on Kyle Anderson leading the team in opposing field goal percentage?
Yeah, no, I mean, the guy has been – how about this? I did not think he would be an early season contributor. I didn't think that he would be, as good of a fit for how they want to play as he has been. The fit is fantastic. Again, Buddy Hield and Kyle Anderson are having a personal duel over who fits better into this system. Yeah. They really are. And the two of them feels like they've been career warriors. Before we've got to the 20-game mark on either of these guys, they feel like they know the offense and the defensive assignments in the back of their hand. And I guess that this is, tribute to Mike Dunleavy Jr. picking players that fit the system best.
Absolutely right. And the De'Anthony Melton one, again, there was some criticism that's warranted there just because durability was a concern before the season. And you and I did a short together that we put out where we were, criticizing the De'Anthony Melton signing in the moment. Again, the Buddy Hield signing had yet to happen.
And at the particular time that it happened, the last thing the Warriors needed to add was another shorter guard.
Yeah.
And that's what it sounded like. Oh, do the Warriors need a 6'3" guard? Not really. Well, he plays good defense. Yeah, but he's 6'3". If you needed a 6'3" guard to play a little bit of defense, his name's Gary Payton II. Play him. You don't need another version of that.
And here's the thing, man. De'Anthony Melton we're seeing it ourselves firsthand. He's a great player.
He's better than I thought he was.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely he is. I what's this Shaquille O'Neal? I must say I was not familiar with your game. I'm not familiar with the De'Anthony.
It's a great impersonation side note. But here's the problem, man. And this is where sometimes you could look at fit, you could look at, all the little things and think to yourself, this guy is a great fit for our team. But when you're trying to play a 6'3" dude as your shooting guard in a game that's very physical, you could bring up the wingspan all you want. You could bring up the data all you want, but he's still guarding, in most cases, bigger players. He's out there as a 6'3" dude, oftentimes, paired up with Stephen Curry, who's also 6'3" and frail in comparison to the rest of his peers out there. And this is the downside of the small ball approach is physically you're going to get pounded. And even though the good news is they have players like Wiggins, they have players like Kuminga, they have players like Draymond who can match and exceed the physicality of other players. But De'Anthony Melton is 6'3", and he's not a stocky dude. He's a skinny guy. This is where the downside is, man. And it just sucks. It just sucks that we're seeing an injury-prone version is what I'm trying to say.
A get-right game. Absolutely on the schedule against the Atlanta Hawks this evening. The Hawks are, they're all right. They're not terrible. They're not offensive. They're certainly not overwhelmingly impressive. And per usual, the key to beating the Hawks is making sure that Trae Young doesn't go bonkers on you and make sure that Jalen Johnson is somewhere, not approaching 20 a game. And you're going to beat the Hawks. I think the Warriors get right tonight against the Hawks. I like them. And then what? It's New Orleans after that. I think the Pelicans are coming back up here.
This is a good stretch of games. I'm glad you brought that up because right now the Warriors, and I'm looking at my phone because I've got one of those wallpapers that has a season schedule on it, which I love. The Warriors, the next 4 games, and these are games that I think they have to win. This is the downside to the season that the Warriors and every other NBA team has to face in a league like this that's so competitive. You cannot have off nights against weaker opponents. You have to win these games. And so it's 4 games. Atlanta, the Pelicans, like you said, the Spurs, which should be interesting, but it's a must win. And then Brooklyn at home. That the Warriors, what I'm trying to say is they got to go 4-0. You can't whiff on these kind of games, given how many hard games you have following up, because guess who that 5th opponent is after those 4? The OKC Thunder. You got to play them again. So it's going to be interesting. The good news is they play the Thunder at home. I love how Stephen Curry, after that first game when they won in OKC, in the post-game interview, one of the first things Stephen Curry said was, I'm glad we don't have to come here again. That's how far ahead he's looking at the schedule, dude. Stephen Curry is a creature unto himself, one of a kind. I love him. But the point is that I'm trying to make, you got to win these next 4, and it starts tonight with the Atlanta Hawks. Do you know what the line is, by the way? I'm looking that up right now. But I was asking just if you want to save a second, but I'm curious to know.
Warriors minus 7.5. Just guessing.
Oh, yeah, I'm staying away from that. What are you thinking?
No, I'm guessing. I didn't even look.
I'm sorry. Oh, well, I just found it. You're very, very astute prediction. Warriors minus 8 is the actual line.
Hey, handicaps are over here. Look at me. Yeah, that's
I would recommend staying away. That's a line I would not touch. This could be a close game. This could be a blowout. I have no clue,
that's
man.
A backdoor Trae Young 3. Damn it. Yeah, look at it this way. I got all aggressivo on Niners Seahawks this past week. So I'm dialing back a little gambling this week.
Dude, that game was so. Speaking of frustrating, man. I mean, the Warriors are frustrated by the Clippers in the same way that the Niners, I imagine, are frustrated by a lot of things with that Seahawks game. They should not have lost that game, dude. I'm sure you've already exhausted yourself discussing that, but for the Golden Dazers, let's add a little more frustration. That was annoying and frustrating.
Let me sum up the 49ers in 2 quick words. Not good. There you go.
Ooh.
Not good.
Yet they might make the playoffs still, right? I mean, as crazy as that sounds.
I mean, they got 7 left. They got to go 5-2, 6-1. Good luck with that. I mean,
with a really tough schedule, right? For the Raider.
Yeah, I mean,
Forget about it.
Dude, again, you're going You need to pick up wins immediately, and your next 2 games are at Lambeau, at Buffalo. Not good. Cyrus, great stuff, man. I always have an awful lot of fun talking hoops with you.
Right back at you,
brother. Each and every Wednesday now. Larry and I will start your day, hopefully, with a little wake up. So we'll get the football out of the way, and then Cyrus and I will sort of recap what the Warriors have done since our last show, start looking ahead to what the week looks like for the Warriors. We'll fire up that generator, and Cyrus will stay with us. Thank you, brother. Great.
Yeah, the generator worked. I'm still here. I'm stoked on that. And side note, speaking of our mutual buddy Larry Kruger, I'm back with him tonight for the Golden Dazers. This is part 1 of a double header of Golden Days content after Warriors Hawks. And Damon, the invite's open, man. If you want to join us, it's Larry Kruger, Paulie Max joining us. It should be, and who knows who else, but it's going to be a panel edition, a post-game edition of Golden Days and the Krug Show. And Damon, I know the late nights are hard for you because you got some little ones, but
yeah. Here's the thing. It's not out of the question. We'll see. Maybe I'll pop by tonight.
You should. And then for the Golden Dazers tomorrow
against the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm going to be like, what are you, out of your fucking mind? I'd rather go to bed.
If for the Golden Dazers, Rick Barry's joining the show tomorrow. We'll talk free throws, among many things, with the Hall of Famer. Damon, this is always a pleasure, brother. Yeah. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m., man. Warriors Wednesdays. This is fun, dude. I'm glad we're doing this, man.
Would you please give Rick my very best?
Yes, sir.
I like Rick an awful lot. And by the way, Chef A, who is one of the best members of the Plus community. Chef A is awesome. She shows up to Plus Manias. And Cyrus, she has just become a member of Golden Days.
Thank you.
She has become a member to support you of Golden Days. And
thank you.
Look at it this way. If you needed the coolest Jewish lesbian listener in your life, you just got it.
Wow.
Yes.
Sign me up.
This is my kind of, if I were a Jewish lesbian chef, I would have been Chef A. We are spirit animals. So you got a great member there, Cyrus. Great show. Hey, again, if you want a great sandwich, everyone, and Chef A can't whip you up one, ask my man Ike to get you a delicious sandwich. He's got it for you. Make sure you order from Ike's. Make sure you sign up for the Love Rewards program. You'll be very happy that you did. Our good friends at the Dubliner, keep that hand up, Cyrus. Look at just appearing right in Cyrus's palm. The Vanna White of YouTube. Look at the Dubliner, and thank you. And I would like to go back to your logo, and I'm terrible. Oh, no, I can't reach into your picture frame.
Oh, you can't. But real fast, I just want to let the people in the chat know as well. Thank you for subscribing. The link to be a Golden Dazer is in the description of every YouTube post. If you could just find it right there. And Damon, you're in control for these shows, so I apologize if anyone wants to jump on with us. We got a limited amount of time, but you could jump on with us tonight. So if you want to join the show, I'm sure we'll welcome people for part 2 this evening. Because I'm seeing in the chat a few people saying, can I come in? Can I come in? We're up against the clock today, but for future shows, I'm sure we can do that. Damon, this is a pleasure, brother. And for the Golden Dazer, subscribe to the Plus Mania, the Damon Bruce Show. And thank you to everyone, dude. This is a delight.
Angels fly.
Are we talking radio? We're radio now. Side note. If it wasn't evident before, it's evident now, dude. They're dead. Stick the flag in them, dude. They're toast.
It's just
you can't even afford the rent for a building in San Francisco anymore. You're dead.
As someone who loved radio, it kills me to watch it all happen. It really does. And even though what is bad for them technically might be good for us, it's still breaking my heart. Really is.
It is
really,
good for us. And look,
I mean, you were there. How many years were you at KNBR?
That was nearly 10 years. Yeah. You were there. But you've been in there longer. I mean,
I was there 9.
But then you continued on though. I mean, I did radio too. I kept going. I went to San Diego and did the Mighty 1090 for a little while. And but yeah, it's sad. It is sad what's happened to radio. The good news is we haven't gone anywhere. The talent is still there. And I'm sorry to sound arrogant calling us talent, but I mean, look, man, when you look at the product going on in the actual radio station, I don't think I'm reaching saying that. The point is, just come to YouTube. Just come to the podcast platform. We haven't gone anywhere. We just moved. That's it.
It's that easy, folks. Thank you for watching. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it.